go all in and put the passion behind it and the resources behind it.
It is home. It is home for me.
I live for that moment. It's exhilarating.
It's a great story about following your passion. Jason Hawkins was a successful banker in the Oklahoma City area when he had the chance to follow his heart. Now the Oklahoma City general manager has a chance to bring a title to his hometown. I recently had the chance to sit down with a Moore, Oklahoma native and talk about his own soccer history and the future of the game here in OKC that he's helping to forge. It is a very good time to be wearing green in Oklahoma City, isn't it?
It's always a good time to be wearing green.
Soccer at Oklahoma City, you're a Oklahoma City native. It has grown leaps and bounds in the last 5 years. Did you ever think you would see a professional team like this grow and flourish when you were in high school and college?
You know, the hopes and dreams were always there. Again, I've been around it long enough to see some of it come and go, but it's been nice to see not just one or two individuals, but really see the community come together, which I think has been the kind of the key to success for it. Again, there's been a lot of different professional teams that have kind of come and gone and that type of thing. But with all these people pulling in the same direction and not just focused on the first team, but really on the role that it can kind of serve in our community, I think that's really helped escalate and make things move a lot faster for us.
A lot of people know you as the general manager of the Oklahoma City Energy, but your background, you've been a soccer player for a long time, you've been a banker for a while. You have an interesting road that you took to get here, right?
Yeah, definitely. But it's always been here in the Oklahoma City community. But again, it goes back, even when I was 4 and 5 and playing on chain link nets in South Oklahoma City, watched my first professional game in Taft Stadium ever. So it's been a long road, and I've kind of been in all the different pieces, but I really feel like it's kind of set me up well for the general manager role as well. Because whether it was in the youth side, whether it was in the playing side, again, even as a parent now who has kids in the club and are falling in love with the sport, it takes all of that really to achieve our big goals.
Those goals are big, but the goal of having a professional soccer team at the highest level is something that the owners have been looking at. You as the general manager continue to plan for, right?
Yeah, again, for us, the key word is always aspiration. We know no matter where we're at, there's always something a little bit better out there, and so we just continue to try and always use those standards as to what we're trying to achieve. Sometimes you control all the puzzle pieces and you can just put it together. Sometimes maybe there's a piece that's missing that you don't totally have control of, but you don't lose sight of having the eyes on the prize and really trying to get there. And so, I would say even as we aim for MLS, there's steps past that, because then you say, well, what does the MLS league look like that? How is it viewed in the world at that point? So there's always going to be an aspirational piece to it for us. But we're also never going to be content with where we're sitting at.
You've had experience, obviously, as a player, as a coach, your financial dealings and your banking past. Has that all played into your role as general manager, and are there things that have come up as a general manager that you never thought you'd deal with when talking about soccer?
Well, there are agents of the world, so yeah, you always get to have the fun
Are they as bad as everybody says?
No comment.
Okay, that's very political, and I like that.
It depends on the agent, just like anything else in life.
Right.
But no, it definitely was a diverse background. But again, ultimately, it's always about being able to pull people together towards a common goal, and that's probably been the biggest thing that's really helped me out. Whether I was with the bank, whether I was with soccer associations, it's always been that we had something we were aiming for, and it was really about being able to pull people together, get them pointed in the same direction, and then also empowering people. We find that we feel like we get the best people around. We're very, very proud of the staffs that we assemble and things like that. Ultimately, that'll be the success. The more good people there are that are involved with it, the further we can go, the faster.
We do have good people with the Oklahoma City Energy, top to bottom, the coaching staff to the players. It seems like this organization is just one that's all class. Does it get any simpler than that?
All the pieces are certainly there. Again, we continue to learn every single day, but a lot of that comes because we're not afraid to try new and different things either. So we're not necessarily content to just look at a model that's out there. We always want to look at it and say, okay, well, how could we do that one better? And even if we're looking at an MLS organization, we don't just say, okay, that's the model, let's do it. We say, how does that fit with us? What are the parts that work? But again, what's that one little thing we might do that makes it fit for the Oklahoma City community, or again, that can be the next best thing? So as we really look to make those moves, it's you sometimes make some mistakes because kind of our motto too is to move quickly, move swiftly, and as you do that, rather than just sitting around and planning and planning and planning and never executing, we've really said, you know what, let's put the eyes out there, but let's take steps forward, and if we fumble the ball a little bit along the way, then let's figure out how we can recover and learn from it, not make the same mistake again.
State of soccer in Oklahoma City, obviously good, but the state of soccer in the United States might be having kind of a dawn of a golden age. We saw that popularity, whether it was due to Pele, whatever, in the late 70s, early 80s. I remember going to Oklahoma City Slicker games as a kid at Taft Stadium. Are we seeing kind of the dawn of a golden age for soccer in the United States?
I think we're definitely in it at the right point. You're seeing it start to kind of move past some of those other sports, and it doesn't really matter how you're looking at it, whether you want to talk about tickets and fans and those types of things, whether you want to talk about the number of people playing, whether you want to talk about even corporate sponsorship support. You're seeing all of those things kind of come together right now. And ultimately those are what lead to being able to, again, kind of take, whether you want to talk about the MLS and how it's viewed today, it's beginning to start to take some of those steps. You see American stars that are playing inside the league now. You see worldwide stars that are actually coming to play here. Do they love coming to America too? Absolutely. It's interesting when you talk with players from other countries, coaches from other countries. Ultimately, all of them want to come and be in the United States and be part of the system at that point. So that's kind of the beauty of the United States piece of it. But you've also seen the level of the game rise here. I put a lot of that back even inside the youth systems. The sophistication, the level of coaches that are involved and are really able to make careers out of it and do that and really affect the game. It's just amazing.
What is the organization? What is the city? What do the corporate partners have to do to reach the MLS?
It's been no secret since the beginning. The first thing you've got to have is support for a team. And I mean that through the community, I mean that through the fans. You've got to put people in the seats, and they've got to be diehard supporters who are willing to spend money on the team as well. Because what happens is then you start to see the city turn green. You start to see the logos everywhere. You start to see just people who are totally invested in it. And that's when we talk about having a club rather than a team. That's part of that movement. You start to talk about, well, as a 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old looking up in an aspirational way, and he's going to bleed those colors for the rest of his life. That's what you already see in the rest of the world. And that's where some of our movements have come over on the youth side, is to say we want kids invested from the very beginning. We want their parents invested from the very beginning, because now you're creating generations of a big family, basically.
And that's going to take time, but I think the ownership's in it for the long haul, and I think that there are already plans in place to reach that ultimate goal.
Oh, absolutely. So again, just the fan support is just the beginning of it. Without that, there's really, we've always said it's really the community's team. We're just here to kind of manage it. It's really their asset. So they've certainly shown us that side of it. You've got to have a strong ownership group who believes in that goal and also has the ability to go out and raise the capital and do the things that are needed. So we feel like we've got that in place. It's no secret when you walk inside Taft Stadium and see the investments, when you see the investments that is made in the front office and the team, all of it are proof that they are just as invested from an ownership group side. Ultimately, we know that if we want to leg up, the MLS now says you got to have a soccer-specific stadium. And part of that has to do with the fan environment. Part of that has to do with the economics of sport. Back in the old days of the MLS, they were trying to play inside of NFL stadiums and things like that, and it just didn't work. Now it's exciting to watch someplace like a Seattle open the upper deck and sell 40 and 50,000 seats, because again, it gives you that hope and that dream that it can get to that. Is it there on a daily basis yet? No. But again, that stadium does so much for the community. Again, and for us, it gives a place you call home too, a place that's symbolic of what you're all about.
Where is this organization in 5 years?
Again, I think we continue to say let's put ourselves in the MLS discussion. You don't get to control all of those cards. Some of that has to do with geography. Some of that has to do with stadiums that are already in place. Some of that has to do even with just how quickly the league wants to expand or not. But ultimately, you continue to see the MLS taking steps saying, nope, there's still viable markets out there. And so we know that the thirst is there for it. If they'd looked at Oklahoma City 12, 15 years ago, people might have said, oh, I don't know if that could be a major league town, would they? So people say, are the Thunder your competition? Oh, sure they are a little bit. We all, there's only so much disposable income, but we also know that fans can like and support more than one team. And we also feel like soccer's a pretty darn good fit. When you look at the other sports that are major for us, between the college football programs, between the professional basketball, it fits in nicely for something to do, kind of during those summer months and there's some overlap. But it's been really neat to see what the vision and the overall goals of the city have become at the same time. They don't want to put the brakes on either, because they recognize that other communities will just catch up to us at that point. I think that's part of why we've been so successful as a city, is again, we had city leaders who have a vision and they're not afraid, again, to put one foot in front of the other and say, let's go make it happen.
With a great mind and a passion for the game, it looks like the Oklahoma City Energy and the game of soccer is in good hands now and as we move forward. From the Aloft Hotel in downtown Oklahoma City, I'm Brent Skarky for Energy FC TV.